Sanctifying Grace by Will Wisdom, Chapter 15, The Cypress Trees. "Don't be afraid of me," I said gently and sadly to the bunny in the grass before me by the roadside. I had been up all night, searching the town for a place to dance. But strangely, all the places were closed. Maybe that's because it was a weeknight, and it was after 2 in the morning. The night was calm with a gentle, warm breeze. The sun wasn't up yet, but the blackbirds were singing. The moon shone overhead. I walked a little closer to the bunny, hoping he would trust me and not run away. "I'm not going to hurt you," I told him honestly. I stepped off the dirt road and up! He darted away. I sighed. I saw a hill off in the meadow in the direction the bunny had ran. It was hard to see in the dark, so, after a moment, I decided to go investigate. Something that looked like a castle was at the top of the hill. I could vaguely make it out in the dark, its silhouette pressed against the early morning sky, which was now just slightly more luminous than the grass. After I had crossed the meadow and climbed the hill, I was surprised to see that what I thought was a building was just a row of cypress trees. But I looked at them and began to be intrigued. They were tall and beautiful, standing proudly next to each other like giants, pointing sharply up to the stars above. When I walked up to touch the trees, I was disappointed to find a moat of water guarding them. So I walked to the end of the row and turned the corner. There were more trees on this side, still with a moat. So I walked to the end of that row, looking for an entrance, but there were only more trees and a moat. I didn't give up. I turned the corner one last time, only to find more trees and a moat. I finished walking around the trees and sat down where I started. I tried again. I walked around the circumference of the trees, looking for some kind of way to get in. Maybe there's a bridge, I thought to myself, or a gate. By the time the sun was well up, I had walked around the row of trees again and again and again, looking for an entrance, but I didn't see one. I had forgotten that it was a weekday, and cars were now busily driving down the street in the distance, people on their way to work. I sat down on the verge of tears, caressing the dirt. Then I stretched my hand forth on the ground and gently let my side settle against the surface of the earth, and my head collapsed into nature as the tears began to flow silently, and my body finally allowed itself to heave. "Why are you crying?" I looked up. "What's the matter?" he asked. I thought for a long time about what to say, and then I told him. "I know something great and wonderful and beautiful is behind this row of trees, but there's a moat around the whole thing that I cannot cross, and I've walked around time and time and time again, but now I am sure that there is no way to get in." "Have you tried prayer?" he said lovingly. "Who are you?" I said. I didn't really need to ask. I knew it was my guardian angel, and that I was high as a kite. "Have you tried prayer?" he prodded. "No," I said. Well, I mocked him. Instantly, I found myself with the angel inside the row of cypress trees, which apparently formed a square about a football field long on each side. There was a garden inside, and it was beautiful indeed. Many of the flowers were the same as the ones outside in the meadow, but many were different. There were roses, but there were also flowers of every kind I could imagine, including countless wildflowers of every type. Paths meandered through the garden. I could tell it was a place where children played and lovers went for walks. There were benches, but I saw no people. In the middle of the garden was an elegant fountain flowing with clean water. "Where is everybody?" I asked. "Oh, they're not here right now," he said in such a mysterious way that I was frustrated. Then I looked at him, and he was almost laughing, because he knew he was talking like an angel. I started laughing too. "Come on, let me show you something," he said, and took me by the arm. "Look." He pointed to a hole in the ground on one of the paths in the garden. It was not obvious because stones were next to it, and they were covered in grass. But gosh darn it, it was a hole indeed. "Hold on 1 second," he said. He went over to the fountain and started drinking the water. I realized I was thirsty, so I went over to the fountain and did the same thing. Then he went back to the hole. Then we went back to the hole. I looked at it, wondering where it might lead. Probably into the ground, I thought to myself. The angel stepped in front of me and put his hands up. "Password, please?" he said playfully. "Jesus Christ," I said. He stepped aside and allowed me to get on my hands and knees and prepare to enter the hole. "Let's see how far this rabbit hole goes," he said with a wry smile. I tried to push the rocks out of the way, but they wouldn't move. So I tilted my body in such a way that I was able to get through. The angel followed easily. "Do this often?" I joked. "Yup," he said, stone-faced. Then he got serious. "Look, you're about to go on an adventure, but don't be afraid. I'm with you as your guide." "But I want to play with the power converters," I whined. "No time for power converters," he said. "Come on, let's do this." We crawled through a narrow passage in the down direction for what seemed like an eternity. It wasn't completely straight. There were twists and turns, but always in the general down direction. "Where's the elevator?" I gasped, now completely dirty, sweaty, and exhausted. "We're almost there," he said. We went a little bit further, and then I saw it. The passage opened to a vast cave as big as the Grand Canyon. However, the path now turned into a rope bridge, which I could see went through the cave. The rope bridge was also narrow and high above whatever was below. "I know you're afraid of heights," he said. "Yup," I answered. "Come on, you only live once," he pleaded. "Where am I?" I asked. "You're in your body," he answered quickly with flawless pronunciation. "My body? How can there be so much space inside my body?" I asked sincerely. "Because your soul is in your body," he explained. "So we're in my soul?" I reached for information. "We're in your body, and not just that," he said. "Yeah," I said casually. "We're in your body at the moment of your death," he said, turning to me and putting his hand on my shoulder. "I'm dead?" I asked inquisitively, a little afraid of the answer. He looked me in the eyes. "Yes." We started walking out on the narrow, meandering rope bridge, which had just a couple of planks for us to walk on. Clearly, he was distracting me with the conversation. He led the way, and I followed, my hands on the ropes and my feet on the planks. Below us were rivers of what looked like fire. They flowed slowly but surely. They could be seen all across the vast cave, meandering in between the rocks of the ground, which was covered with huge stalagmite spikes. I could see the sparkle of gemstones, too. The ceiling was much the same, without the rivers of fire. "You can rumpty-tumpty-tumpty-tum," the angel shouted across the landscape. "Tee-tuddly-tumpty-tumpty-tum." I took a deep breath and chimed in as we sung together full blast. "I'm the man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo." It echoed across the vast cave. Still walking on the rope bridge, I asked, "So, Mr. Angel, how did I die?" "First of all, don't call me Mr. Angel. That's silly. Second of all, you were in a music video that ended with you getting hit by a bus." "Oh dear," I said, actually concerned for myself. "But don't worry, here you are in good spirits and good health." The angel put on an English accent, gesturing with a swing of his arm. "Jolly-o," I said. "So what's our mission?" "Just follow me. Look, I'm not Jesus, but follow me anyway, 'cause I am familiar with this place," the angel said. "By the way, you can call me Emmanuel, which is what you named me when you thought you were getting more mature, Or you can call me Vince Patrick, which you named me when you were a young buck in high school." "So where are we going?" I asked again. He stopped walking and looked downward. Then he turned his chin over his right shoulder and mumbled in a goofy voice, "We're going to see if the management is in." "The what?" I asked. "The management," he said in a retarded voice. "If it's in or not." "This place has management?" I asked. "You bet," shouted Emmanuel, and his voice echoed throughout. "What's that over there?" I asked, pointing to something going on like a concert with people dancing. "That's the club," he said, knowing I'd want to check it out. "Can we get closer?" I asked. "No," he said. "Cool," I said. He pressed a button in the rock and the bridge came loose, and I was scared I was going to die. "But you're already dead," Emmanuel said, reading me like a book. We swung down in an area just around the corner from the club. "Okay, you can hang with the cool kids while I go check if the management is in," he said. "Thanks," I said, excited to party finally. I did party. A lot. I met a lot of people. I saw some of my friends. I hit on a few women with little success. There were some awkward moments, in fact. I danced to the music with these people for what seemed like days, though it was probably just a few hours. That said, Emmanuel did take a long time to come back, but I was having fun. Then I saw him. "The management is in. They'd like to see you." "Where are they located, Emmanuel?" "In the cleft of the rock." All I could see was a lit-up sign above the stage that read, "Resurrection Nightclub." I did notice the lyrics of the songs I love etched into the rocky walls of the club. Emmanuel smiled. "We must have made our way deep into the confines of your heart," he said. Indeed, I marveled as I looked up and around, fascinated. "Look!" He pointed to a spot near the stage, just to the left. I was having so much fun I didn't really think too much about what might be about to happen, or who the management was, or why Emmanuel thought it was so important that we had to meet them, whoever they were. "Is there a sign that says, 'Beware of the leopard'?" I quipped. Immediately Emmanuel responded, "We removed that. People were scared." "Hold on," he said. He went over to the cleft in the rock, which was actually a door. He knocked. Another angel opened the door ajar and said, "What is it?" Emmanuel whispered, so I could hear him talking to the other angel. Look, I got another dead guy here, and actually it turns out we're inside his body. Anyway, can we see the management?" "Management's busy." "Please?" "Okay," said the other angel. Emmanuel waved me over excitedly, and I came. Actually, being unable to detect sarcasm, I wasn't sure if he was actually excited or if he was making fun of me, but I think he really was excited. "I am really excited for this moment," he said, clarifying things for me. "Oh, I'm relieved to hear it," I said. After a brief, non-awkward pause, we opened the door. There was a room and a table, and 3 men sitting around the table, chatting over wine and crackers. "You can sit here," said angel number 2, and he brought a seat over and put it next to one of the men at the table. I looked over at Emmanuel, who was blushing with pride, encouraging me. I realized the adventure was transitioning from fun to exciting, goofy to serious. "And what do you do?" asked one of the men. I work for an insurance company," I lied. "Insurance? What type of insurance?" he asked. "Your mom's type," I stated bluntly. An incredibly beautiful and sweet woman seated in the corner began to laugh gleefully, and she covered her mouth and her face turned red. "Have you met my mother?" he asked. "No," I said. "Oh, but you have," he said, a glaze coming over his eyes. "What's that?" I asked, alarmed. "What's what?" he said, wiping the drool off his chin. "There was some kind of heavenly light in your eyes as you went into ecstasy for no apparent reason, just to make a joke or something." I tried to make sense and wondered if he was bluffing me or if I was bluffing him. Ahem, said another one of the men, clearing his throat. Let's get down to business. Avicii has been a great addition to the community, and his services here have been excellent, highly inspirational, said the man I was sitting next to. But, continued the one man, he wants to spend some of his time here fishing. So we wondered if you could cover his DJ gig at the club on Wednesdays and Thursdays. If you do well and people like you, we'll pay you something fair and let you hang with us at the after party. What do you say? Said the man next to me. Before I say yes or no, I bluffed. I'd like to ask you about these rivers of fire so prevalent here. Are they real or are they fake, like Disneyland? Emmanuel gestured to come over to me, and I did. Meanwhile, the three men had a huddle and discussed what to say to me. If we say real, the truth will kill him, said one of the men. But if we say fake, we'll be lying, said another of the three men. But father, he's already dead, said one of the men. They gestured to me to come back to the table. Want some wine? One of them asked me. I want the truth, I screamed. The truth is those rivers are rivers of blood, said one of the men. The blood of the Son, said one of the men. Mingled with my own, I said, catching on. They looked impressed. Emmanuel gestured to me to calm down a bit. Yes, I'll be your DJ Wednesday and Thursday nights. As the world sleeps, we will party. And we had a toast. To eternal life, one of the men said. Tomorrow begins today, another said. Hear, hear, we all said, and consumed the fine wine. The end. Sort of.